The morning after Imran came home felt different. Lighter somehow, as if the house itself had exhaled after holding its breath for years. The air was filled with laughter again, not from the children, but from the grown-ups. That gentle, forgotten kind of laughter that only comes when hearts are at peace. When I woke up, I could smell parathas sizzling in the kitchen and hear voices floating down the hallway. Rashid was teasing Imran about how much weight he'd gained, and Imran was laughing, chasing him with a wooden spoon like they used to as boys. It was such a simple, ordinary sound, yet it was the sweetest music to my ears. I sat up slowly, clutching my shawl around me, and whispered a small prayer of gratitude. Ya Allah, I said softly, thank you for bringing my family back together. A few minutes later, Imran walked into my room, carrying a tray of breakfast. He looked almost shy. Ammi, he said, I made tea for you, with extra cardamom, just the way you like it. I smiled and gestured for him to sit beside me. After all these years, you still remember, I said. He nodded, eyes glistening. How could I forget? Every morning before school, you'd wake us with that smell. I used to think you added love instead of sugar. We both laughed, and in that laughter, I could feel 12 years of distance melt away. Later that day, his children came to see me. I had seen their photos over the years, but seeing them in person, hearing their laughter, feeling their small arms around my neck, it felt like pieces of my heart, once lost, had found their way home again. The youngest, little Zara, looked up at me and said, Daddy, Baba said we are never going to stay away from you again. I held her tight, hiding my tears in her hair. That's all I ever wanted, Marijan, I whispered. As the day went on, the house buzzed with life. Cousins playing in the garden, the smell of biryani filling every room. Old family albums spread out on the living room table. Imran and Rashid sat flipping through the pages, laughing at old photos of their childhood. The one where Imran had ice cream dripping down his shirt. Or the one where Rashid had tried to shave like his father and ended up with patches of missing hair. Watching them, I felt something shift inside me. For years, I had lived with a quiet emptiness, a silence that no celebration could fill. But that day, I realized peace doesn't come from forgetting pain. It comes from forgiving it. And when you forgive, love doesn't just return. It blooms again, even more beautifully than before. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Imran came to sit beside me on the veranda, the same spot where we had our first phone call after all those years. He looked around and said, It's strange, Ami. Nothing has changed, but everything feels different. I smiled. That's what forgiveness does, Beta. It doesn't repaint the walls. It changes the way you see them. He looked thoughtful. I kept telling myself that you'd never forgive me, that it was too late. It's never too late, I said gently. Sometimes we wait for others to say sorry, but the truth is, peace begins when we let go of the anger. You see, forgiveness isn't something we give only to others. It's something we give to ourselves. He nodded slowly, tears glistening in his eyes. You're right, Ami. I wasted so many years. I placed my hand on his. Then make the years ahead count. Be the kind of father your children can look up to, the kind who teaches them that love is stronger than pride. He smiled and said, I will. I promise. The next few weeks were like spring after a long winter. Imran started visiting every weekend with his family. The children would run through the halls, their laughter echoing off the walls that once stood silent. Rashid and Imran reopened their father's workshop together, restoring the old furniture that had gathered dust. The name Raymond and Sons once again hung proudly at the gate, polished, shining, alive. Neighbors would stop by and say, Baji, your house feels alive again. And I'd just smile, because I knew it wasn't the house that had changed, it was our hearts. Sometimes at night, I sit by the window and think of my late husband. I can almost hear his voice saying, "You did well, Fatima. You kept the family together." I close my eyes and whisper back, "No, Raymond, forgiveness did." I've learned something precious in these last few months. That forgiveness is not weakness. It's courage. It's the strength to open your arms when every part of you wants to stay closed. It's the light that enters through the cracks of pain, the quiet miracle that turns wounds into wisdom. Now, when my grandchildren ask me, "Daddy, what's the secret to happiness?" I tell them, forgive quickly, love deeply, and never let pride build walls between hearts. Because at the end of life, what matters most is not who is right or wrong, it's who chose peace. As the night deepens, I watch Imran and Rashid talking under the mango tree, their laughter mingling with the crickets. I whisper another prayer, not for success or wealth, but for unity, kindness, and gratitude. The gift of forgiveness has changed everything. It has turned my loneliness into belonging, my grief into grace, and my house into a home again. And I know, deep in my heart, that where forgiveness lives, peace never leaves.